What's going on, people of the internet? My name is Denny or Denny Cigarette, and today I'm coming at you with the Opioid Odysseys Part 4. Today's going to be a very special episode. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 weeks that I was completely homeless. Before we begin, I'd like to cover two things. Number one, according to YouTube Analytics, only 7.8% of you guys are subscribed, so if you could, please drop a sub. It helps me out a lot. Secondly, as always, there are drug test kits in the description. Please buy them if you use drugs. They can save your life and or others. Alright, let's get this show on the road. So, as you all may recall in the last episode, I had just been kicked out of, I believe I called her Cheyenne's house. Now, after I basically got beat up and dropped off in front of the methadone clinic, I basically decided to, for the first night, I stayed at the methadone clinic. By that I mean I stayed outside on the grass, and then what ended up happening, is the fucking sprinklers turned on while I was dead asleep at 6 in the morning. And that's not very fun when you're homeless, when you get sprayed by ice cold water from sprinklers at 6 in the morning in the winter. So after getting fucking baptized by the sprinklers, I basically decided, alright, all my shit's wet. This sucks. Let's get the fuck out of here. So I grabbed all my trash bags where I kept all my stuff, and I started to hike. And I didn't know where I was going because I really had nowhere to go. I had money, but I really didn't. You know what I mean? Most of it was going to go to drugs, but it is what it is. So, eventually, I go to this, I know it's ironic, but I go to this Denny's, right? And, there's this, hotel behind it. So, I go and walk to the Denny's with the hotel behind it. And I basically, I thought about getting a room, and then I realized, I'm not going to have enough money for dilaudid or perks. So I just decided, okay, fuck it. We're going to sleep outside the hotel and hope that no one cares. And the thing about it is that this hotel also had other homeless people. So I wasn't, I didn't stand out too much, but I was super young, and I dyed hair and stuff, so it was not good, I looked like a walking lick. So eventually, I got my shit set up, and the thing was I had no tent, I had nothing. I had a towel, and some blankets, and trash bags. So, realistically, I was left with fucking nothing, and I basically just, set up camp next to the other people, and we were chilling. So, the day goes by, I call up the plug, and, something was different this time. He had something different this time. And I was kind of scared to try it, but at the same time, I knew I wasn't going to have money if I kept buying these dilaudids and perks. But what the plug had was heroin. Up to this point, I had never tried heroin, but I knew that it would get me just as fucked up as the pain pills I was doing but it was a lot cheaper. And this, once again, I just want to explain, this is what happens when you get into addiction. Your morals get thrown out the window because, you can call it a financial decision, you can call it what it is, but really it's just sad, you know what I mean? You go from pain pills to heroin, then to fentanyl, but it is what it is. Anyways, so I head up the plug. He pulls up, we shake up, I'm like, what's going on, bro? He's like, bro, what the fuck you doing out here, man? This ain't this ain't your usual spot. I'm like, yeah, bro, I got kicked out, I ain't doing too hot. And he's like, here, just because of what happened. And I had purchased an 8-ball, and bro throws in an extra 0.5 because he feels bad, which, good on him, you know what I mean? He packing it fat, he actually cares, well, quote-unquote cares about the people, he's selling to, which, fuck yeah, bro. I'll take 4 grams over 3.5. That's fucking awesome. So me and him are still chatting up. I'm sitting in his car. Honestly, it was nice to just have the heater on in there and kind of sit there. And that's kind of the things you take for granted when you're homeless, You don't really realize, how much you miss, basic necessities like heat, food, water, even staying at Cheyenne's house, I wasn't eating or anything. And to picture this, nowadays I am 200 pounds. But back then I was 105, 110 pounds. I don't remember that. This was I weighed myself once I went to the hospital, so I might have weighed, but that's I'm not going to go too into that because that's for a future video. But anyways, so me and him were talking, right? And what happened is this like tweaker came up, and eventually we like became decent friends, but, well, quote unquote friends. But anyways, we're gonna call her Tracy, and I'm talking to Tracy. I'm like, hey, and she comes basically up to the car, and she starts knocking on the side where I'm in, and she's like, hey, I know what y'all are doing, like, you know, hey, is there any chance, you know, I need a fix right now, this and that. And her choice of drug that got her on the street was meth. It is what it is. I like meth too. It happens to the best of us. But anyways, she kind of like didn't give him a choice, you know what I mean? She's like, I'm either gonna sit here and jump in your car, or you're gonna, and she had like this weird, like, not southern accent, but really raunchy, and it sounded southern, you know what I mean? And she clearly had like mental illness, which we'll get into later, but she basically like threatens him, right? And I was cool about it. I decided to give her like a 0.25 of H, and she was like, I don't do this shit, the fuck, I don't do dog food. And I was like, okay. Like, and I asked him, like, you off that Chris? And she's like, yes. And I looked at him, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what to do about this. And he's just like, it is what it is. So he gives her his number, right? And then gives her a 0.1 just to, like, you know, try it out. And he said, this one's free, the next one won't. Right? This, you know, usual shit that people give out free samples of hard drugs to get you hooked. It is what it is. But anyways, so I eventually, like, we end the conversation. I dap him up. I'm like, hey, good looking, bro. Thanks for everything. You know how it be. And I walked out. And so basically I went back to like my shit, and I noticed like one of my garbage bags was open. However, no one had stolen shit from it. You get what I'm saying? And I'm kind of questioning why that is. And this was like towards nighttime, right? And I finally realized that like fucking raccoons were like around this place, and they were like digging into my bags. Like, it wasn't open in the sense where they like pulled open the bag. It was open in the sense that someone tore a fucking hole in it. So now that I realized we had like vicious fucking animals out here, kind of got a little worried. So I started asking people if I could stay in their tents, and eventually this girl named Tracy, who we just encountered, she's like, yeah, you can stay here one night, but don't be on any like loser shit. Don't try and rob me, all that. I've been robbed before. I keep a knife here. I'm gonna be watching you. And I already knew she wasn't gonna sleep that night. Like, if she's on meth, she ain't sleeping. So I eventually, you know, to get to the actual drug part, towards the end of the night, when I finally get some of my shit moved into this tent, and I'm getting my stuff set up to fall asleep, which basically I made a sleeping bag out of both of the blankets I had, and then use a towel on top of it, or sorry, at the bottom of it, to like prevent anything from touching the blanket. And anyway, so I bust out the heroin, and I had like tin foil, and I didn't really know how to do it, but I just put a huge ass glob of H. I didn't know how much it was, I'm not gonna lie, and I just started. I took I had a little straw, because there's also a Carl's Jr. next to the Denny's, which I had gotten earlier. But anyways, I kind of like break the straw off with my teeth, if that makes sense. It's like not really cutting, but like it's some tweaker shit. Anyways, I stick the straw in my mouth, and I'm hitting this fucking tin foil, and oh my god, yeah, not only immediate relief from withdrawals and everything that's going on, but like there's just like a warm, milky sensation that goes through every single bone, every single muscle in my body. It's like this nice, comforting warmth, like an embrace from God. And then it feels like someone poured hot liquid on my back and is also massaging it at the same time. You know, that normal opioid feeling. And I start nodding slowly, and I was in heaven. But anyways, so eventually I go to bed. I cack out almost like within 20 minutes of doing it, and I wake up in the morning. Tracy's not in the tent. I've noticed that mostly some of her shit is gone, and I don't know what to do at this point. So Anyways, that's where I'm going to end it for today. But I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, smash the sub, smash the like button. By the way, I will be working soon, so uploads might be a bit more sporadic, but I'm going to try and continue the daily upload grind. You know how it be. But yeah, I hope you all have a good one. Deuces.